This means virtually anything made in China will now be taxed on entry into the United States. Items that until now have avoided tariffs, which instead targeted goods purchased by companies with international supply chains.
There's been absolutely no inflation, and frankly, it hasn't cost our consumer anything.
Not true. The data shows average households did pay more last year, and now it could get worse. Why? Because these new tariffs target things Americans buy every day. Things like smartphones, toys, clothes, shoes. And to be clear, if you're wondering who actually pays the tariff, it's not China, contrary to the president's assertions.
Our country is taking in billions and billions of dollars from China.
Nope, it's the US company that imports Chinese goods that pays the tariff, not China. Now, some Chinese manufacturers might decide to help out and share that cost, but normally it's the US firm that pays the tariff bill. And many firms will then pass that cost on to the US consumer by charging higher prices.
We paid $3 billion in duties last year, and we know for a fact that as prices go up, the consumer will be hit. And so if you think about the consumer being hit on every single consumer good, this will be a death by 1,000 cuts for American consumers here at home.
That's why one analyst predicts Apple could sell 6 to 8 million fewer iPhones next year. When prices go up, sales go down. And that's the real threat to the US economy from this latest round of tariffs. The American consumer has been propping up this economy, showing resilience in the face of the escalating trade battle. But if everyday goods get more expensive and the consumer then starts to pull back, the longest US economic expansion in history could be in trouble.
What is presidential impeachment? Impeachment is a trial without a judge or jury or prosecutor, but instead politicians accuse, prosecute, and stand in judgment of another politician. In impeachment proceedings, the House of Representatives is the investigator and the prosecutor. The Senate is the judge and the jury. It takes 67 votes to convict and only 34 to acquit. We've had exactly 2 impeachments, both of which resulted in acquittals. Andrew Johnson was impeached for actions that were really more political at the time than criminal. And of course, President Clinton was the last president impeached. He was charged with perjury and obstruction. When the Senate impeaches and removes a judge, they're just removing one person's appointed official. When the Senate impeaches and removes a president, they're undoing the votes of millions. There's a lot of debate about what is an impeachable offense. The Constitution says treason, bribery, and high crimes and misdemeanors. In other parts of the Constitution, like the arrest clause, the framers list treason, felony, or breach of the peace. In the extradition clause, they list treason, felony, or any other crime. The framers knew what kind of language they were using. If they intended for the president to be removed for any crime at all, they would have put that in the text.
For me, this is about making sure that we're signaling that nobody is above the law, and that includes Donald Trump.
As Congress returns from recess, divided House Democrats are considering moving forward with an impeachment inquiry into President Trump. The House Judiciary Committee could hold a vote as soon as Wednesday on a resolution outlining procedures for its investigation. Sources say Democrats will focus on possible violations of the Emoluments Clause, reports of Trump dangling pardons to officials at risk of breaking immigration laws, and his involvement in hush money payments.
And they just keep digging their hole. They just keep going after things because they hate the president so much that they don't want to have anything happen.
It comes as President Trump is under fire after abruptly canceling a secret meeting with Taliban leaders and the Afghan president at Camp David, an apparent effort to help fulfill his campaign promise to end the nearly 18-year war.
We could win it very quickly I've said this many times, if I'm willing to kill 10 million people in the course of a week or two, we could win that thing very quickly. I'm not looking to kill people.
The cancellation came after the Taliban claimed responsibility for a suicide bomb attack at a Kabul checkpoint that killed 12 people, including 34-year-old U.S. Sergeant First Class Ellis Angel Barreto Ortiz. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo defending the president.
President Trump made the right decision to say that's not going to work.
But Trump receiving criticism from members of his own party.
As we head into the anniversary of 9/11, I do not ever want to see these terrorists step foot on United States soil, period.
The president did the right thing by walking away. I'm very concerned, though, that we were really close to having Taliban leaders there.
Some Democrats agreeing.
This isn't a game show. These are terrorists.
I'm concerned that our president isn't listening to his generals, to his diplomats, to the intelligence community.
Pompeo emphasizing President Trump is aware of the history.
If you're going to negotiate peace, you often have to deal with some pretty bad actors. While there have often been discussions about war at Camp David, there have been discussions about peace there as well.